Okay, welcome back to part 5 of my character setup tutorials for Anime Studio Pro 9. Um, in this episode, we're going to be covering doing actions. Now, I have an extra script that I do actions with, and it's this script right here. I got it from this website right here, Anime Studio Scripts. Here's the address. I'll provide a link in the description. And the script that I'm using is Smart Bone Helpers. So if you want to come and download this, all these scripts are free for download to be used in Anime Studio 9 and I believe 8 and maybe even lower than that. I'm not sure. You have to come over and go to the frequently asked questions to find out. But that's the script I'm going to be using. Okay, let's close that. And let's get to doing our actions. Now we need to come up here to Windows, Actions, open our Actions window. Be on the top layer of your bone layer. I start from the bottom up to decide which action I need to do. So starting here, I don't need to do an action for the hat, the hair, the foot, but I do need to do my first action for the left leg. So, since I'm going to do the action on the left leg lower, I'm going to fix it so that left leg upper can't move. And that's by turning the bone constraints down to 0. And then I come to the one that I want to work on. You see when I touch this bone, this turns on. That means you're going to add an action to that bone. So if you just hit that, it will automatically put the name of the action and put you into the action inside the actions box. It saves you the trouble of having to remember to properly write down this bone's name, and it just saves time. So starting with the action for this lower leg, we're going to move the cursor from 1 to 48. That's a number at the 2-second mark. Then we're going to move the bone all the way to its extreme movement where you see that leg part messed up. Then we're going to zoom in. I'm going to zoom in. Come down to left leg. Turn it off so that I can see my points better. You're going to readjust these points out of the way. Raise that leg up some like it would if you bend your knee. And how the cloth on his leg would fall this way. And the cloth up here would lay down against his foot. And this little fold in the material would fall more this way. Okay, then coming back up to where his knee is. I need to zoom in some more so that I can see the points better. When you bend your leg in this way, your knee swings and turns a little bit to the outside. So I need to turn those points of his knee. Bring those points around, showing that the knee moved when the leg bent. Okay, now right here when it was facing forward, I faded these 2 points out to 0. I need to bring those 2 points back up to a number 2. Make that look like a proper leg that bent in. Turn off my right leg so I can see. Okay. And that's the left leg at its extreme point. Then you take the cursor over to the halfway point at 24. See if there's anything that needs readjusting. If it does, then now's the time to tweak it. And if that is it, you come out of that action, and that action is complete. Now the second action I need to do is for the leg bending back the other way. See how it has a little bit of a lump right there? So coming back up to your bone layer, over here you hit add action again. It will automatically give you the second action. You're inside of the action now. Bring it over to 48 or the 2-second mark. Move the bone to its extreme movement all the way till it can't move anymore. Zoom in to the area that needs to be fixed. Choose your translate tool and start moving those points over. Strengthen the line width right here. Move his pants leg at the bottom. I'm going to fix that just a little bit just because I'm freaky about things like that. Okay. Then check it at the halfway point. See if the action still looks good, if the drawing still looks good, if the points are all where you want them. Everything seems to look okay. If not, this would be where you would readjust more points. But this seems fine, so I'm going to come out of this action. You double click the main line to come out of the action. Okay, now the next action is to put the actions on the upper leg. So go back into your bone constraints, 3515, which will make this a -15 to 35. Release the bone constraints on that leg. So we go to the upper leg, go back to your bone layer, click add an action. It gives you the action for the leg upper left. Bring the cursor over to the 48 frame or the 2-second mark. Move the leg to its most extreme point. Well, to the inside. Nothing needs done going that way. So we move it to the extreme point going that way. Going to the outside. And we see that his shirt does not come out with his leg, and he does not have a split in this shirt. So let's go down to his shirt level layer and adjust those points to move out when his leg moves out. Everything moves over a little bit to the left when he kicks his leg out to the left. Okay, and that's the only action needed, is to bring that shirt out. So we come out of that well, check the halfway point. Okay, that seems fine to me. So I'm going to come out of that action. And then I'm going to do the same thing to the right leg. So I'm going to fast forward through that because it's the same thing I just did with the left leg. Okay, and that's that action. It works all the way across. As you saw, I tested it going back and forth to make sure it looked smooth. So you come out of that action. And I look and see the next spot I need an action in. I check, go back up to your bone layer, check the movement of the waist. See how if he moves this way, his shirt is going with him. So the next action will be here at the waist, going left and going right. So select the bone, hit add an action. It adds the first action for abs. Come out to your 2-second mark or your 48th frame. Move the bone into one of its extreme movements, and then go into working on the action. I need to fix the bottom of his shirt. That's the only thing needs fixing. So let me zoom in on that. Okay, that's enough of that action. You come out of the action, go back up to your bone layer, choose that bone again. You're going to add another action to it, and it will automatically give you your second action. Move the bone to its extreme movement to the other side. Come down to move the cursor over to the 2-second mark or the 48th frame. Now you can move this anywhere along this line. You can take it out as far as the 6-second frame if you want to, if you got a lot of tweaking you need to do to an action. But otherwise, I just come out to the 2-second mark and go from there. If it's something that needs a lot of tweaking, I'll move it further out. Okay, now that you've done the first action for the abs, you need to do the second action. So come over here and push the add action button. That gives me abs 2. I'm going to take the abs out to the 48th frame or the 2-second mark, and then move it to its most extreme point so that this is the action. It's when he bends. So at that mark, we're going to go down to shirt, turn it off so I can see the points, and then zoom in and tweak the points. Okay, that action looks fine to me. Come back out to the main line, back up. Okay, the next thing, come back up to your bone layer, check the chest movements. When he bends his chest, these little medallions on his chest are scrunching up. So that's an action. Action can fix that. So we're going to come up and select this bone right up under it, the ab bone, and go to bone constraints and move it down to 0 to stop it from moving while I'm working on the chest bone. Okay, now go to the chest bone, make sure you're on your bone layer. Okay, what I just did there was when I came out of the action, I was still over here at the 48th frame, and when I adjusted this and told this to stop moving, the Anime Studio took that as me doing animation. So I went up here to animation, clear animation from document. That's what I just did to clear that out of the way. Now, again, selecting this bone, click for its action, bring it over to the 2-second mark, move the bone to its extreme movement, and then go down to where that mess up is happening and fix it. And since it's happening on the shirt, I'm going to go to the shirt first. Turn it off. Well, nope, in this case, turning it off doesn't help. Okay, what I'm going to have to do is move these over here so that they fold out right, and then readjust these so that they space out right. So hold on. Now your character, of course, unless you're totally doing what I'm doing, won't have this issue. But whatever the issue you have when you move your bone to its extreme point, that's the issue you fix. You go to each layer and fix that issue so that it looks right when the person bends. Like a second issue for this I'm going to have to do is fix this shadow up under his chest, because his chest came down but the shadow stayed completely the same. So I'm going to have to fix that after I fix the shirt. Okay, that fixed that side. Now I got to fix this side. Okay. When he bends, his shirt goes that way. There's a little point right here in his shirt that I need to fix. Okay, now the issue with his chest and neck. When he bent, this part did not bend with him. Holding down shift, then select these points right here and angle them just a little bit. Move it, undo, move it over just a smidgen and bring the shadow up. Okay, check that movement. Move the points in his abdominals just a little bit more. Okay, I don't see any problems between frame 0 and frame 2 that needs me to add any points in between. So I'm going to come out of that action, come back up to my bone layer. While still selecting the chest neck bone, I'm going to click add another action. This gives me my second action. Bring it out to the 2-second mark and move that bone to the extreme movement. And then go in and fix the action. Fix what making this movement messed up. So I'm going to go quiet again while I fix his shirt. Okay, now check the movement. Alright, you got to fix the arm and the chest. Okay, check the movement. I like that, so I'll come out of that action. And that's the chest. Let's see how much time has passed. 57 minutes. Okay, back up on the bone layer. We're going to choose the upper arm. We're going to work on the lower arm first, but first we got to stop this arm from moving. So first we're going to choose the shoulder. Go into its bone constraints and turn it down to 0. Then we're going to go into the upper arm and turn its bone constraints down to 0. And that makes sure that those body parts won't move while I'm messing with this arm. Okay? Now, choosing the arm left lower, I'm going to come over, move that out of the way. I'm going to choose add an action, bring it out to the 48 frame, 2-second mark, move it to its most extreme position, and then let's adjust the points and add line widths back where they need to be added back to. And that is the arm left. And if you ever can't quite see what the shape is you're doing, just do a Control R while you're in the action, and it will let you preview and see what that's going to look like. And I want him to have a visible elbow, so I've made that a little sharp here. Okay, and when you bend your arm, your bicep, I think that's the right name for this muscle, comes out just a little. And that's it for the extreme on that one. We're gonna play it back, see what it looks like at the halfway point. Control R. I'm going to bring this muscle down just a little bit. It's sticking up too far. It's a very subtle movement, but it's something that will be seen when you are animating. So I want to make sure I got that in right. Okay. Come back out to the main timeline. Go back up to your bone layer. Make sure you're still on the lower arm movement. You're going to add in your second action. Come out to the 48 frames, 2-second mark. Then move it to the extreme other side. His shirt is in my way, so I'm just going to make it disappear for now. Then come down to the arm left. Zoom in a little bit. Let's adjust these points. Give him his elbow. Bring this point down. Take that over a little. Bring his bicep, undo. Bring his bicep out just a little. He's not flexing and trying to make a muscle. Do a Control R to preview. Now that elbow is a little bit too bent in. I need to bring it out just a little. Do Control R to test. Still not to my liking. Let's bring his arm in some. Okay, let's try that. Okay, that's better. It's a noticeable elbow. Arm flexed out a little bit. I'm not sure what that muscle's called right there. If anybody knows and want to tell me, feel free. But that one's out a little. Let's go to the halfway point. Straighten out this muscle just a little. Control R to preview. Arm looks nice. Elbow is slightly out, but not too far out for that bend. Gonna come out of that action. Okay, after doing the lower arm 2 movement, I realized something about my upper arm. When he needs to cross over his chest, his arm is going to be under his clothes. And even if I did a layered effect where the arm moved up above it, the arm would then be sitting on top of his clothes. So I went back and I thought I was taping it, but I didn't. So I'm going to tell you what I did to fix that problem. I went and moved his arms above his shirt, turn off the shirt, and I put shoulder pads on both arms so that now when he moves his arm across, no action has been added to the upper arm yet. It will move with that. Okay? So now I can start putting the action to the arm upper left. So being on the bone layer, select the bone for the upper arm, come over here to add action. It gave me the name of my action, arm upper left. I'm going to bring the cursor out to the 48-second frame, the 2-second mark. Then I'm going to move the arm all the way into its most extreme position up. That's with the shoulder released so that I get the full movement of that arm going up. I doubt if there be a reason for me to pull his arm up that far, but just in case. So going to the left arm, turning off his shirt, turning off his head and his hat so that I can see in the hair back. Yeah, just notice that's misspelled. I'll fix that later. Okay, and zoom in. I need to readjust the points of this shirt and readjust the points of his sleeve. So putting it where I can see the points. Bring this point up. Bring these other points around. Undo. Okay, this item right here is an underarm shadow that I also added to the arm layer. And it'll be used when the arm swings back the other way. Right now, I just got to hide it out of the way. Okay, the points for the shirt up here at the top have to stay up under the sleeve. Let me go back to the sleeve and move some points around. Okay, I got to come out of this movement. On the regular timeline, I hid these lines. I see now that I don't want to hide them. I want to thin them out. So let me go back to the main timeline. Zoom in closer to the sleeve so I can see. Turn off the shirt. Unhide these lines. And instead thin them out. Which means I need an extra point here. Okay, now back into that arm movement. Okay, Control R to preview. Okay. This line right here, when the arm is up, it switches positions and turns that way. Control R to preview again. Okay, that looks good. I noticed something when I was in preview. When I put his shirt on, messed with his shirt, somehow I brought this to the front, in front of the belt, so I have to fix that. So let me come out back to the main timeline, come down to his shirt, select his belt. I'm going to bring it up to the front. There we go. And select his belt buckle and bring it to the front. Now, there we go. Everything's back to normal. Let's test that arm movement. Turn off the framework. Just test that arm movement. Okay. It has a lot of issues with it. So let's go back into that arm movement. Let's turn back on the framework. Go back in. What I forgot to test before I came out of here was to test the arm movement in here, and I would have seen all of this. So you can come to the midway point, frame 24. You zoom in and retweak those points. Basically what I'm trying to show you with action is that actions can fix problems in your rotation of any body part, that you turn it and it's not looking right, where the elbow is sticking out too far, or if the neck is turned the wrong way when you move it. Any point where you move these bones, if it comes out looking wrong, that can be fixed with actions. Now from here to here, the halfway point would be 36. I look at it and see if there's anything I don't like about it. I'm going to bring this point in just a little. Then between 36 and 48, see, is there anything in that movement I don't like? Okay, I do notice that between 24 and 36, right here, the skin shows. So at frame 30, Gonna go down to the shirt and pull that back up. So that it is once again covering that piece of skin. And adjust this point. Okay. Then check between going between 24 and frame 1, frame 0. We'll start at frame 12 and see how these are all wonky. Let me go in and fix that. Okay, 18, just this point. Start bringing it in, so that by the time it gets up to 24, it can smooth itself out some. Okay, check the arm movement. It looks nice. Check it in movement with a control R. Okay, that's that arm movement going up. Come out of that timeline. Okay, now I'm going to do the second arm movement for the lower arm, for the left upper arm. So we're going to hit add an action. That gives me action 2. Going to bring it over to the 2-second mark. Going to move the bone to its extreme movement this way. And then go into the layers and adjust the points to where I want them to be. Okay, now I got them both where, well, wait, one more thing. Back up here, I gotta fix the arm. And bring the armpit into action. Okay, now this sleeve is gonna be over this arm. So let me move these points up out of the way and bring the bottom point up to the top of the arm. Okay, Control R to preview that. Looking good, but I'm going to taper his arm down a little so I don't see that line as much. Okay, yes. Now that's good for bringing his arm across. Now we're going to check that at the halfway mark. Okay, and check the movement of it going up at 36. I need to adjust the shirt just a little in the back. 42. Looks good. 30. Looks good. Then I got to check between 0 and 24. At 12. Got to bring a few points over. Between 12 and 24. At 18. From 18 to 24. Okay, then from 12 to 0. That flowed smoothly. Let's check that. Mid move somewhere, anywhere along here. Control R. Okay, that movement looks good to me, so I'm going to come out of that action. Back up. Look at that action again. Okay, I think what I'm going to do is take the downward movement out of that bone constraint. So I'm going to take that 5 out and turn it into a 0. And see how that works for me. The arm can go up, but I don't want the shoulder going down any further than it is. See right there, that little play? That's in the upper arm movement. So let's go check that out and see what's going on. Okay. Told you I will nitpick a movement to death, but I'm gonna let this go for at that. And that's the line movement for the arm moving up and the arm moving down. Now I'm gonna do the same thing for this side, and that will be it for the movements on his arms. So I'm gonna fast forward through this part. Okay. Now the second movement to this arm, bringing it across this way. Remember to always make sure you're on the main bone line when you do that, because if you don't, that action will start inside of the bone and it won't have an action on the bone layer. So make sure you're on the bone layer before you add new action. Move out to frame 48 or the 2-second mark. Bring that bone to its extreme movement to the inside, and then you can go down and start working on it. Okay, and that is that movement. Now I took out the downward movement for the shoulder bone here, so I also need to take out the downward movement from the shoulder bone here. I see a problem right here in the upper arm movement 1, so let me go back in there. Okay, I think I got it, and I think that would be it for the arms. Test the movement. Okay, now see, the next movement I'll have to do is for the shoulders. So go back up to my bone layer, select my left shoulder, click add a action, bring it out to the 48 frame 2-second mark, take it into its extreme position, and then fix it. Okay, that's it for that shoulder movement. Gonna come out of there, test the movement. I see where this is overlapping into that neckband he has on. So let me go back in, come back up to the movement. Okay, come back out of that movement again. Check it. Okay, that's better. Now back up to your bone layer. Select the left shoulder, right shoulder bone. Add action. Bring it out to the 48 mark, 48th frame mark. Take the bone into its extreme movement. And go down and fix it. Okay. Come out of that action. Test it. Go back into the shoulder left action. That's all, just an aesthetic. Just want to bring that point in a little. Okay. Now I think I'm finished. Let's see. Turn his head and his head back on. Okay, we have his actions done for his arms. No action needed for the, well, let's see. Tilt that head and do a Control R. Yeah, see how his head comes off of his neck? Let's fix that right quick. I'm gonna fix that right quick with a action for his head. Okay, up on your bone layer, add an action to the head. Come out to the 48th frame. Tilt the head either direction, it doesn't matter. And then go to the neck chest layer. Let's fix those points. That's it. That's all you gotta do. Just bring that back behind there. If I want, I can make his hair tilt to the side when his head tilts by grabbing all these points of his hair and rotating them. And bringing them over this way. Rotate it a little more. Now I don't know if this will work, but I want to see if I can go into this layer and move his sideburns to make them move when his head tilts. Okay, I'll see if that will actually hold when I come out of this action. Oh, also his hat needs to move when he tilts his head. Okay, come out of that action. Test the action again. See how his hat swings to the side? I wasn't sure if it would stick. It doesn't seem that the action of his hair moving, his sideburns moving, stuck because they are inside of a group layer. Add the second action. Okay. Tilt his head to the side. Control R to preview. That's fine. Tilt his head to the other side. Control R to preview. Okay. Okay, and that completes the action so far for one eye. On my next tutorial, I'm going to change this group layer to a switch layer. And then the head layer that's inside of that, I'm going to turn into a bone layer so that I can do the final actions for his face. And so, if you've enjoyed my tutorials, please like and subscribe to my channel. And I will try to bring a new tutorial at least once a week. So until next time, bye-bye.